played Dota 2 for thousands of hours, but you've always wanted something more. A reason to fight, a deeper meaning to your battles. But to know the hidden history of Dota 2, you must go on an adventure of a lifetime. An adventure into the lore!
There are some topics that I love to think about in Dota 2's lore, and others which make me frankly terrified to cover. Some topics which are so complicated and convoluted that even beginning the discussion really stresses me out. One fine example is the 7 planes of existence, which is not this video. Thank goodness. That video is gonna kill me. However, this video is pretty close because it's about the demons and the demon realm in Dota 2. Now honestly, I've never wanted to do this video because it's going to be such a big to-do, but with Artifact coming out someday, and with an increase of the focus of the Dota 2 lore, I decided we might as well cover this convoluted topic now, so maybe the big boys at Volvo can clear some of this stuff up. Look, I know what you're thinking, demons. How could this be hard, right? They're just the bad guys from hell. How is that hard to explain? Well, hell, let's get into it. So what is a demon in the Dota 2 lore? Well, that's a great question. We know that practically anyone can become a god with enough knowledge and experience, as we've learned in our gods video, which you can watch here if you haven't, but the opposite might not be true to becoming a demon. No, to reach demon status, you don't simply get really dumb or something, although that would make sense with many of our experiences in the mid lane with our Shadow Fiend friends. Instead, apparently, while godhood is something that one can strive for, demon is a creature that is born rather than made. But who are the demons? Let's start our discussion with some classification and identification. Demons are creatures from the 7 hells, which are not to be confused with the 7 planes, although they may be specific hells for each plane, the yin and yang of the cosmic world. The 7 planes being the light planes of existence, and the 7 hells being the shadows of that light. I told you guys this was going to be complicated. Anyway, let's just say that there are 7 levels of hell in Dota, and a demon is any creature who hails from these hells. Or is it? Let's get into our first big question of the episode. What exactly is a demon? Now, at first, this seems pretty simple. Anything from the demon realm, these 7 planes of hell, is a demon. Shadow demon, shadow fiend, shadow shaman, just get on that one. Doom. But then things get a little complicated. Is Queen of Pain a demon? She certainly doesn't look too much like her demon counterparts, but she was summoned by demonologists, so yeah, she's a demon. Warlock summons golems, but other demons, and he himself, admit that they are demons.
Warlock, you've enslaved your last demon.
So golems are demons, Quap is a demon. Now remember, we said that demons are born, not made, unlike gods, yet Lion is a demon witch. He took the arm of a demon and fused it with himself, but you can tell that things are growing out of him and he may be turning into a demon. The same thing with Legion Commander and her Arcana, where she begins to transform into this demon woman due to her cursed swords. She even speaks to the demons in their native tongue. But we'll get to that in a while. What about Terrorblade? What about Underlord, who rules a abyssal demon army? My point being, what exactly is a demon? What makes you a demon, and how can you be transformed into one? Well, we don't really have any answers for that, but I do have a few theories. Alright, so we need to do some house cleaning here to try to make any sense of demonology in Dota, and I'm going to need to take a few liberties. So I'm going to make this a half headcanon alert, because we kind of know most of this stuff, but a lot of it is reading in between the lines. So, viewers beware. Alright, let's start off with the 7 hells. Now, from what I understand, there are 7 realms of dark existence, a hell for each one of the 7 planes, which are all connected but separated, much like you would imagine our version of hell. Now, we know that some demons call specific levels of hell home. Meraxiform, the demon that Clink slayed, hailed from the 6th hell. Doom resides in the 7th hell, etc., etc. This leads me to believe that each level of hell is ruled by a specific, extremely powerful demon that reigns over their level of hell, unable to cross into other levels or the mortal realm, aka the 7 planes, but pretty much has absolute power in their level. These demons may be the demon lords, which Terrorblade stole from, each a powerful demon that commands and keeps in check their circle of hell. So, let's go through them one at a time. We're going to start at the bottom because that's the hell that we know the most about. Doom resides in the 7th level of hell, the deepest and potentially most powerful. Now what makes Doom special, and potentially the leader of all demons, is that he is the only demon which is able to pass freely between the circles of hell, as he owns the demon blade of apocalyptic fire, which might sound like he was named by a cashier at Hot Topic, but it does have the ability to slice through the membrane that separates the 7 hells. Now we will get into Doom later in the episode, but what's important to note here is that he seems to be the only creature that's able to do this, which is one of the reasons that he's the big badass boss of hell. But anyway, the 7th circle is Doom's level, and we can assume it's pretty much just like him, a raging inferno of death, pain, and fire. I would imagine it closely resembles the Judeo-Christian version of hell, you know, considering his name is Lucifer. Let's move on. Now, the 6th circle of hell may be ruled by the demon Meraxiform, a demon which once rose to lay claim to the Hoven. The Hoven is home to a deep forest, but also several black, flammable pits of tar and oil. Meraxiform rose from hell to set this place ablaze and probably claim it as his own, making me imagine that perhaps this demon is the source of all the fire in the 7 hells, as he quests to turn places into infernos in the mortal realm. Anyway, Clinks was once a noble archer for the Mage King of the Hoven, who promised eternal life to the warrior who sent the demon back to hell, which Clinks actually did, shooting his arrow into the head of the demon at the exact same time his flesh was burned off of his bones by that demon with one of its hellfire attacks. So, ironically, Clinks became immortal in the moment of his death, an excruciating death, burning forever from the demon's hellfire, trapped in the anguish of his victory for all of time. Neat. So, the 6th level of hell may be where the fire from hell spreads, and the home of this super fiery demon. Now, the 5th circle of hell is only referenced once, again in the apocalyptic fire set, claiming that the tale was forged from the 5th hell. Now, this is interesting, because we do know of a demon smith, Aziddan, who created the demon edge and accidentally killed himself while testing it. Quirth, the armorer who gave Tresden her cursed demon blades, may have also come from this circle of hell. Perhaps the 5th circle is the industrial area, lined with forges that are fed the flames from Maxiform below, creating the weapons and armors that the armies of the demons use. And now we get to the pretty much unknown, the 4th through the 1st circles of hell. I've combed the items and the lore, and I've come up with nothing about these realms, but I do have a few theories. Shadow Demon needs a realm, as well as Shadow Fiend, so there's 2. I would imagine Shadow Fiend's realm is probably the 4th level, home to the Abyssum, known also as the Rift, where the souls that Shadow Fiend captures ebb in and out of a swirling dark vortex. The Abyssum is actually where Shadow Fiend spawned from, and apparently is the home to a Dark Master, the Fiend serving him merely as his puppet for soul harvesting. When Shadow Fiend dies, he cries out to his master as he is sucked back down into the pits of the Abyssum.
No, Master! No!
Now, who is the Dark Master, and what are his goals? Those remain unknown, but I do have a theory that, again, we'll get to later. Perhaps the 3rd level of hell is the hell that belongs to Shadow Demon, or perhaps it belongs to Ezdazak, a demon that once promised Bloodseeker power for a bit of the blood he was already collecting for the Flayed Twins, a power which mutilated and changed the Bloodseeker so horrifically that the Flayed Twins themselves had to step in to try to return him to a functioning form. Either way, we don't really know much about level 3. Neither do we know anything about level 2, but I would imagine it is here that Foulfell resides, the demon prison where those that break the rules of the 7 hells are imprisoned, much like Terrorblade. Terrorblade was an outlaw among demons, stealing from the demon lords and breaking pretty much every rule that demons were bound by. He was such a badass that they sent him to Hell's Hell, Foulfell, the demon prison. Now, in Foulfell, one is trapped in a prison made of mirrors, so that you can look upon the worst version of yourself and be tormented by it for all eternity. Terrorblade and his mirror image, however, decided that they would work together to escape, becoming one and breaking out of Foulfell. This is why I would put it on level 2, as I would imagine the reason Terrorblade is now in our realm is because breaking out of Falfell would bring him close to the surface rather than deeper into hell. I mean, Falfell sounds bad, honestly, but it doesn't seem too hard to escape from. Terrorblade got out in our realm, and even Chaos Knight's horse broke out. Yes, this horse broke out of a demon prison and escaped into our realm. Why a horse was sent to prison and how a horse escapes a demon prison is beyond a mortal like myself, but whatever. Now, interesting to note, while we are here, the Falfell Shard. This rare little item grows in power when you kill demons and traps their souls within. This could be a great way for us to actually establish what qualifies as a demon, as killing Doom, Shadow Demon, and Shadow Fiend, Lion, Terrorblade, Quap actually do make the shard grow, which is great! Alright, it's solved. Wait a minute. Killing Abaddon, Wraith King, and Undying also grows it. So, wait a minute, it says it has abyssal energy like Underlord? Oh, geez. Let's just pretend this item doesn't exist. Okay, so the first level of hell. Again, we don't know anything about this, but here is my theory. I believe that the first level of hell is a reflection of the material plane of the 7 planes. That is to say, it's the counter to the dimension that we see in Dota 2. A thriving place with lots of different lands and creatures, and one that is closest to normal life. This is where I imagine all those demons Warlock summoned reside, where Quap is from, where the demon Lion hunted down resides, and where the Hellkite, these tiny little birds that Bounty Hunter's master once killed, and the demons of the Cataract all hail from. If your local demonologist or warlock is summoning a demon, then he's probably grabbing a Desident from the first circle, as it is the closest plane to our own. And this would explain why lesser demons and hell creatures all seem so different, because they're coming from a place as large and diverse as our own. Alright, whew, there you go. Step 1, we know what the demon realm probably looks like. Now let's get into who runs things and how exactly it works. Let's get into the Umbral Pact. So we know that there are demon lords, demons that preside over each of their levels of hell. Now let's take a look at the sovereign demons. So the hierarchy may go as follows. And again, this is half headcanon here. You got your run-of-the-mill demons occupying the first circle, ranging from animalistic to humanoid to whatever that is. Then you got your step up from that, powerful demons that have specific realms they call home. Then you got your demon lords that are the kings of those levels of hell and keep their levels in order. And then you got the sovereign demons, the 3 that lead the local level kings. These are, of course, Doom, Shadow Fiend, and Shadow Demon. Now, what separates the sovereign demons from the other level-dependent demons? Well, this isn't actually ever said, but I believe that it's a very special power that most demons desire, but few can pull off. The ability to freely travel to the mortal material realm. Now, we have heard of demons making it into our realm, but this is mostly due to being summoned by mortals, who enable a gateway to be made between the worlds. Most demons are not powerful enough to break through hell to our world, and most that are summoned either work until they die, like Warlock's golems, or are playthings of dark wizards, who trap their souls in cute, fuzzy goats, like this poor courier. But some, the sovereign demons, appear to possess the strength to break through as they wish, with no rules or masters holding them in check. Now, this is quite the power, as souls seem to be a huge resource and desire in the demon world. Now, as you may have noticed, the demon realm is a little different from what our religious versions of hell is like in the real world. In Earth Hell, when you're a bad guy and you die, your soul goes to hell to be tormented forever. But in Dota, when you die, your soul goes to the narrow maze. No matter if you were a good or a bad guy, you got to walk the maze. And where you end up at the end of that maze is either your personal hell or your personal heaven. But we're never told if the hell referenced in that is the demon realm or if it's just something else entirely. For all we know, when your soul dies in Dota, it may never go to demon hell, or at least only those who have taken enough wrong turns in the maze end up there. So souls, which seem to be the most desirable thing in the demon realm, more often than not, probably don't even make it down there. Thus, those with the power to go to the mortal realm and get souls on their own free will seem to be the most respected and powerful demons in the social hierarchy. But even the sovereign demons need to follow rules, and this is what brings us to the Umbral Pact. What exactly the Umbral Pact is, again, has never been said. But what we do know is that it is an ancient equilibrium applied to the sovereign demons, and that Shadow Demon once nearly broke it. To understand what I believe the pact is, we gotta know more about the sovereign demons. Alright, first up we have Doom. Doom is the quintessential leader of the demons and hell for a few different reasons. His lore is pretty much a cut and paste of Christianity's Lucifer, and I mean his name is literally Lucifer. Once a general in the realm behind something called the Light, he fell, cast from grace, and was set to burn in an immortal flame. But he became that flame. Casted down to earth, he made the realm of his own. Again, Doom is the king of all demons because he's the only one which seems to be able to pass between levels of hell, and he seems to be the most powerful of all of the demons. But why? Well, let's get into some headcanon. Now, in Christian tales, Lucifer was an angel in the army of God, but as you may have noticed, there's no stories of heaven or God in Dota. So what exactly did Lucifer fight for? Well, the only hint that we're given was that he was a general of the light who refused to kneel. Could it be that Keeper of the Light, the rogue fundamental, the one who created the disharmony in the universe, once used an army to spread his influence? If you remember, Night Stalker's people were all killed by the light when Keeper made it, but perhaps rather than a literal translation, this is more of a metaphor. Perhaps the light was not just photons and beams, but a literal heaven army of angel-like beings who swept the universe battling in the name of the light, fighting back the beasts of darkness in the dead universe to make way for life and light to reign. Perhaps this is the army to which Doom led, but then was branded a traitor and fell from grace. Perhaps the systematic annihilation of an entire universe by a crazed fundamental didn't sit too well with Doom, and he was the only one who had enough of a conscience for the creatures who were being wiped out. As he was branded and his wings cut, cursed and falling from the light, he took it upon himself to make a realm for the monsters the light was hunting down and exterminating, to create a shadow to that light, a haven for those that would be destroyed by his former army. This would explain why hell exists, why they are home to so many creatures, and why Doom seems to be the one that watches over it and the only one with the power to travel between all the levels, because he is their protector. So maybe Doom isn't really that bad of a guy. Makes sense to me. Headcanon's over. So what about the other two sovereign demons? Well, there is another force in hell that we know nothing, and I mean nothing, about. Deep in the abyssum, the swirling pit of souls, there's an unknown master that thirsts for souls for unknown means. It was from this pit that the Shadow Fiend, the shadow of the master, was spawned. The purpose of the fiend seems clear: to harvest and collect and deliver souls to the master. That's simple enough. The master has such power that it can propel the demon to the mortal realm at its will. Simple enough, but we don't know the whole story really at all. And so we come to the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon seems to be the smartest of his kind, and he realized that the realm which Dota 2 exists is a sort of galactic nexus, where realities meet in the 7 planes and the 7 hells, and everything in between comes together. To the demon, killing creatures here for their powerful souls was relatively worthless. Why kill a cow when you can farm them, have them make more babies, and enslave them and feed for a lifetime? To control this plane would mean to control all realities, and so the demon, unlike his brother, went forth against the wishes of their master to convert rather than reap the souls. This secret mission, known as the Dominion, was going great until Shadow Fiend killed one of the cultists that the demon converted, and when he found that there was a rotten soul within, Shadow Fiend reported back to Doom, and the two demons destroyed the Shadow Demon for his greed and planned domination. Shadow Demon managed to reform himself, and seems to be playing nice now until he can build up his power for another play at the Universal Dominion, and thus the Umbral Pact. So let's say you got this resource, souls, that you really, really want. They live inside animals and humans on a material plane. Now, you could just go and kill all the humans. You have the power to do whatever you want, but then what happens? No more humans, no more souls. So a bit of constraint is needed. Enslaving the humans, that taints the souls. It makes them less desirable, less powerful, as good, pure, happy souls. Well, those taste the best, and they are the most powerful. So, the only play is to skim off the top. Take what you need once in a while and let those mortal, disgusting creatures repopulate, have babies, and you can harvest those babies later. That's just simple agriculture. That is what I believe the Umbral Pact is. Demons agree to go topside and directly kill mortals but only do so lightly. They've got to keep the balance. Kill too many mortals, and they don't repopulate, and you're all out of souls. And hey, let's not forget that the creatures above are actually pretty powerful. Perhaps the pact exists not only to ensure that there will always be more souls to harvest, but to protect demonkind in general. I mean, we know that demons can die. Lion and Clinks are proof of that. And perhaps with enough incentives, the mortal realm could put aside their petty differences and rally to eliminate demonkind once and for all. After all, the Keeper of the Light almost did it once. So the Umbral Pact exists for two reasons. You're free to harvest souls, torture the mortals, enslave and punish those who summon you, but you've got to ensure that your footprint on their realm is minimal. Keep the balance between predator and prey. If Shadow Demon succeeded in his plot, there would be no more untainted souls, or even worse, the surviving mortals may fight against him as they had done before with the demons of the Cataract. So you've got to keep the balance, you've got to keep the demonkind alive, and you've got to respect the Umbral Pact. Whew, okay, so we've covered the 7 hells, we've covered who controls them, and the general rules of society, which was all very complicated as I warned you, but those are just the basics. Now it's time to move on to my theories and the secrets of the demons. Now, did you know that Valve made an entire demon language? I'm not kidding here. It's called Oskavosh, and I guarantee you've heard it before. Shadow Demon loves talking in it, and even Legion Commander speaks it when corrupted by her demon arcana. Now, I'm not gonna cringe you guys out by talking in the demon tongue like it's Klingon or something. That level of nerd is beyond even me. But I have put in a lot of work translating the lines the demons say to one another, and they say some pretty interesting stuff. So without further ado, or in other words, let's look at some demon shit. Don't worry, I'm only gonna do that once. Okay, now most of the lines are, they're pretty disappointing. Well, maybe not disappointing, but let me tell you, when it takes you about 5 minutes to translate one of these bad boys, and it ends up being this, which means nothing can stop me, it's a little less than rewarding. But we do get some pretty cool lore tidbits from some of these lines. Now, some of my favorite translations come from Legion's Arcana. The set itself is called the Blades of
Domoz,
which means Blades of War Dominion, which is a cool play on words because it means that they're blades that can control a battle, but also blades that control the wearer consuming them. It's pretty cool. One of the demon lines, which gives off the impression that she's fully converted to the demon control, is this.
Oskavosh icha Domoz!
Meaning, the demons will reign. That's pretty neat. Anyway, the majority of the lines are pretty much what you would imagine them to be. I'm powerful, I consume you, nothing can stop me, etc., etc. But there's a few that are pretty interesting. For one, we get to look into the interesting relationships between Shadow Fiend and Shadow Demon. Check out these lines when Shadow Fiend kills Shadow Demon. Which directly translates to negative desire, debt, hope in the future, ownership. Which I believe translates really into keep your debt, these souls will be mine. Also this, which I think means I am no longer yours, and this, I am more powerful than the master. Now we learn a few things here. Soul translates to hope, light, brightness, the sun itself, but it's also their word for souls, as in things that Shadow Fiend collects. This brings a little bit more credence to the theory I have about Doom serving in the Army of the Light, Keeper of the Light's headcanon army. If demons want souls because they are the light, they are harvesting that power to fuel their own society and plots. And souls need to have hope, goodness, which explains the Umbral Pact theory as well. But we have even more here. Fiend says, I am no longer yours, and says that he is now more powerful than the Master. Now, is he just alluding to the fact that the Master has tried to destroy the Shadow Demon but couldn't? Or could it be that Shadow Demon actually is the manifestation of the Master? Why does he say he will no longer be his, and the strange debt is held between them? We know that Shadow Fiend serves the Dark Master, but there's more. When Shadow Fiend kills Doom, he states, which I believe translates to, I will never return to your pit, Lucifer. Is this the Master's pit, meaning that Doom was the one who put him in the pit in the first place? I mean, when Doom kills Shadow Fiend, he says this, which I think means, know your weakness, weakling. And this, the Master demands you. So what does all this mean? Well, it's pretty hard to tell. The translations are kind of up to interpretation. They aren't really perfect. But what I can tell is Shadow Fiend seems to be the lowest in the pecking order of the demons. Cast to the pit by Doom, where potentially he fell in service to the Master. Perhaps it was Shadow Demon who pulled the Shadow Fiend out, creating a debt to him which Shadow Fiend must obey. Maybe the second Dominion, the second attempt at universal domination, is already underway by Shadow Demon, this time making sure that Shadow Fiend can't sell him out? Or maybe I'm completely off here. Maybe Doom is the master of all of them, and the Abyssum is just an extension of himself. Maybe Shadow Demon is the manifestation of the Dark Master because Shadow Fiend failed him too many times. Maybe the Master is something else entirely, the source of the dark that was nearly driven to extinction by the light. Perhaps that's what the Master is, the foil to the light, the old dark god of the universe who kept it dark and lifeless before Keeper of the Light fought it back. Maybe by collecting the souls, the power of light, the darkness is trying to grow again in power, enough to fight back and reclaim the universe. Honestly, we have no idea about any of this. We really have no idea what the answer is, and while my theories may sound good, there's very little backing them up. And thus, why I made this video. So, there you have it. That's your very short introduction to the demons of Dota 2, how the Seven Hells work, and all about their society. Now, we didn't get into a lot of fun stuff here, like maybe how the Omniscience might be the same master that the Shadow Boys follow due to Shadow Demon's old model, or some facts about lesser demons like Quap, Lion. Again, is Underlord a demon? Is Abyssal mean demon? I don't know. Apparently it does. I don't believe it. Anyway, again, we have no idea. We'll get into all this when we do specific heroes later, but for now, a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of confusion, but I hope this cleared up a little bit of those dire demon questions y'all have been having. Maybe soon those questions can be answered for us. Please, Artifact, please. Thank you. Thanks a lot for watching Loregasm. Thanks to our artists and editors. And again, I don't take money from my Patreon. I use it to pay the artists and editors. So if you like the art from the community, feel free to give some love over there so I can pay some more people. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time. And until then, I bet you thought I was going to talk in demon again. I ain't doing that. All right, have a great night.
Uskavosika Domoz.